Hey everybody, in today's video, we'll be creating a 2D tile level editor with automatically rearranging tiles. As you can see in this clip of me using the level editor, I am left clicking to place the tiles and right clicking to destroy them. For this tutorial, I'll be using pixel art for the ground tiles. As you can see, I have 16 of these tiles and each orientation of each block type. If you want to use the same tiles as me, I'll put a link down in the description where you can download the tiles. Hey guys, so in Visual Studio Code, I have imported my folder with the ground file and another file called Grass Builder 2000. So I'm just going to set up the standard while loop for the editor, and then I'll see you in a second. So here we're going to create a list that holds the data for the level that we're creating, and each item in the list is going to correspond to a tile and which type it is. And so we're going to have a certain amount of rows, and we're going to have 8 rows and 16 columns. And so we're going to loop through 8 times, create those rows, and to create those rows we're going to loop through 16 times and append a value to the row. If our y is greater than 5, then we're going to set it to 1 so that there's just a baseline ground there that we can build off of. So this next function we'll be creating is called the getImage function, and it's going to take an image from a specified area on the sprite sheet. And this function I did not come up with it. I got it from Coding with Russ. He's a great YouTuber. He has a lot of good coding videos. And so we're going to use this function to get the tile that we want to draw to the screen from our sprite sheet, so we can draw the level very efficiently. And then after that, we can see that working by just up here after we fill the window, we can blit the image onto the window. So we'll do the get image of the ground. And so before we do that, we're gonna have to import the ground .png. So we're gonna go ground equals the Pygame .image.load. So we're going to load the grass.png file. And then down here, if we get the image of ground, and then say width of 25, because that's how what they did, and then the height of 25, a frame of 0, and a scale of 2. Then we can just do that at, let's say, 50. But when we run this, it'll give us the dirt block at that little area. And then we can choose different frames, because the frame will be that, and then we can just choose from each of those. So now we have to draw a level, and that's going to be a function up here called draw level, and it's going to take in no parameters. And so we're going to loop through each row in the level list. And so we're just gonna we're gonna repeat the length of the level, and then we're going to repeat in each row. So repeat for X in range the length of the level index of 0. So then we can see if the level, if the level with an index of y and then an index of x, if it does not equal 0, then we can let it to the window using the getImage function here. And we'll use the ground 25, a frame of the level yx. So we're using which number is holding in that index of the list, -1, and then we'll do 2 for the scale, and then we'll put it at x of times 50 and a y times 50. And so when we call this function after we fill the screen down here, then we'll have the level we'll have it be drawn right here, which is nice. So after we do that, we're going to want to be able to create and destroy tiles. So we'll just create the variables called mx and my, and we'll set it to be the pygame.mouse.getPose, and that returns 2 values, so that would be the mx and my. And then we should make the mx and my be rounded to the nearest 50, so that we can place the tiles where we want to in a grid. So we're gonna just set this to be the floor of something, but first we need to import the math because I did not do that at the beginning. So we need the math.floor of mx divided by 50, and then the math.floor of my divided by 50. Oops, that's empty. And then we can see if the mouse was pressed, which we can see from the pygame.mouse.getPressed. Then we'll do the 3 buttons. And we'll do the first button, so left click. If that is pressed, then we can go level, MX, MY, equals, okay, why is this giving me an error? Okay, I figured it out. It's the if, of course. So if the mouse is pressed, then we want to set the level, MY, MX to be 1. And then we can easily just copy and paste that to be 0 if the right click. So now we can place and destroy blocks, but we also want to see where we're placing. So we can just go down here and split the get image of the ground 25 with the 25 and a height of 25 and a frame of 0 and a scale of 2 just at the mouse cursor. So MX times 50 and MY times 50. So this should give us a representation of where we're going to place our block or destroy. So now I want to auto rearrange the tiles, and that's going to require a function called isLevel, which we can define up here. And it's going to take in 6 parameters of x, y, and up. No, not x, y. We'll do it at the end. At left, right, up, and down, and then we want x and a y for the index. So what this function is going to do is it's going to loop through each of the lists here, and these are going to be lists L, R, U, and D, and it's going to see if at the index x, y of the level is equal to any of them. Like to the left, we'd subtract 1 from the x and loop through each number in the left list. And if it's true, then we'd set left to true. And if left, right, up, and down are all true, then we'll return true. And you'll see what that's used for later on. So we're just going to see if x doesn't equal 0, and then a is going to equal 0. Then we're going to loop through each index in the length of L. So this is a list. And if the level at y and then x minus 1, if it equals L I, then a equals 1. And after we're done looping through, if a equals 1, so this means if any of those were true, then we're just going to set L to equal to true. But else, then we're going to set to false. So then we can just copy and paste this inside a little thing for all the different lists. So for the second one, we'll do x does not equal the very right side of the level instead of the very left side. That's going to be the length of level 0, and then -1. And then a is going to equal 0 again, and then we're gonna loop for the length of r, and we're gonna see if this is r. And instead of subtracting, we're gonna add, and down here we're gonna set this to be r and r. And so then we can do the same for up, and that's going, y is not going to equal 0, a equals 0, and we're going to repeat for up, and instead of the x, we're going to subtract 1 from the y, and we're going to look for the index of up, and we'll just set these to u2. And then we have to check if y does not equal, I'll just copy this. If y doesn't equal the length of level no index, -1. And we can just set this to be d, and no x's, we're gonna add 1 to the y, and we're gonna see if it equals the d here, and if it does, then we'll just do all that. So you can see if L and R and up and down, if they're all true, then we'll return true. And so we can use that down in the main loop, game loop, to loop through each tile in the level and basically use the isLevel to see which type of block it should be and set it to that type. So this is gonna go right under here, and we're gonna make sure the level that tile that we're doing does not equal 0. And so this is a lot of stuff to do, and so I'm just gonna have I have a pre-written thing here that I'm gonna take out. So I'll have this as in the description where you can just copy and paste it into here. But it's basically just setting all these different values, checking for each one, and it should give us this. And so now you can build around and destroy things and stuff and build your... Alright, so now to make the user be able to decide the length and height of the level, we're going to have to modify a few things. So first, we're going to create a variable called w, and I'm going to set it to the input of how the length of the level. So we'll just tell the user to type the length of the level, and then we'll do the same for the height. So we'll make it input height of level, and then we can just set those to be ints, so they're not strings and we can actually use them. And then once we do that, we have to create another variable called s, and I'm going to set it to 1000 divided by w. So that's just going to be setting this s is just going to be the size of the tiles. And so then we can set the window to be, instead of 800, by 400, we can get to be S times W, not 2W, and then we can set the height to be S times H. And then when we're creating our level here, we can just set this 8 to be H, and then this X to be W. And when we're setting the baseline for the ground, we can go the round of H divided by 2 plus 1. So that'll just, from the middle to down, we will have the it just be the ground. So after we do that, we're gonna have to replace every 50 with the variable S. So in Visual Studio Code, you can just highlight a 50, click change all occurrences, and then we have the cursors on every single 50, and we can just change it to be S. Then we can get rid of this. And then we also have to change the size of which these scales are for blending the tiles to the window. And so we're gonna go S divided by 25, and that should give us a nice number for that. And then also down here, we have to do S divided by 25. And when we run this, it'll ask us the length of the level, which we'll say is 100, and the height 16, and it'll give us this. And you can edit your level, break stuff, create a little underground tunnel here. Thank you for watching this video, everyone. I really hope you enjoyed it and it helped you create your own level editor, and you can now easily build 2D levels for your game that you're working on. I really hope you enjoyed, and until next time, see ya.